Hi, I'm Dennis Gage and welcome to My Classic Car. Well, this week we're at the Hilton Head Island Concours d'Elegance and Motoring Festival. I love this show and I've been coming for years. In fact, I've been emceeing it for the last several. There's just everything here. Cars, boats, motorcycles, airplanes. There's so much to do. We better get doing it. Chris, how you doing, man?
Good, Dennis. Good to see you.
You look fabulous, I must say.
Thank you.
I mean, you were more cash yesterday at the Classic Car Showcase, but today is the official Concours. The Hilton Head Island Concours d'Elegance and Motoring Festival. Did I get it right?
Absolutely, yes.
You know, I've been associated with the show for some time, and you are now kind of the
president.
The president.
The president.
I call you the Grand Poobah. Actually.
I'll take what I can get.
This is such a cool show, Chris.
Thank you, Dennis.
Yesterday was beautiful. Today is fantastic. The show field both days blows me away. And the difference between the 2 days is what I like about it. The Car Club Showcase, how'd that come about and what actually is that?
You know, the Car Club Showcase is a great way for us to celebrate local car culture. We get 23 clubs from around the area. They pick their best of the best and they showcase it right here on the same show field that we have the next day's concours. So it's really a celebration of the motoring spirit in this greater low country area.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this may be Car Club cars, but it is the best of the best. There's some high-end stuff there yesterday. It was just fantastic. But then today, oh my goodness, this is the official Concours Day.
This is the Concours d'Elegance Day. We have a lot of exhibitors from all over the country and from Canada here.
Yeah, and you also had the Flight of Fancy was Friday night, which I always love. I mean, I love airplanes, love motorcycles, love cars. They're all there.
Yes, we combine the love of motorcycles and planes and cars. We bring them all together at the Hilton Head Island Airport, and we celebrate in the hangar. We have live music, and it's just a fun night under the stars.
I think this whole thing is a big happening. I mean, there's so much going on, and it's cars, it's motorcycles, it's planes, it's boats.
Yep.
Because
there is definitely boats.
It's like everything.
We got it. But it gives families something to do. They come out for the day, and there's something for the kids. There's something for mom. There's something for dad. There's something for grandma and grandpa.
Well, absolutely.
Everybody.
Of course, Hilton Head Island is such a cool place.
I mean, come on. The beaches here are pristine. The people are wonderful. The dining is fine.
It's really good. Hilton Head Island is one of the most chill places on the planet, I think. It's just so laid back, and it's one of the things I love about it.
That's right. And I think we try to bring that vibe to this show.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got the elegance. Yes, we're wearing the jackets and we're a little dressy, but really the vibe is that we're here, we're friends, we're family, we care about each other, and we care about the hobby.
Yeah, and it shows. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful show. You're a busy man. You need to get back to work. Let's look at a couple cars before we go. What do you say?
Sounds great, Dennis.
All right, let's do it.
Thank you.
Darren, I love this car.
Thank you, Dennis.
I've always loved these cars. I run into you here frequently.
Yes.
You're kind of a Hilton Head Concours gadfly.
Yes, I am indeed.
But this is the first time you brought this, yes, no?
It's the first time in over a dozen years.
Wow.
Because it's a 500-mile round-trip drive for me, 250 each way.
You drove it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole pleasure of it.
Why would I own one without driving?
Exactly.
Absolutely beautiful. 69 Iso Grifo?
69 Iso Grifo.
Now, these things have a great story, and you certainly know it way better than I do, because it's really quite a combination of designers and manufacturers. And so, what's the deal on an Iso Grifo?
The deal is that this is a car that represents the confluence of Italian design and engineering and American horsepower. So you've got Giugiaro from Bertoni, who styled the body. Giotto Pizzarini, the father of the Ferrari GTO, who engineered the chassis. And then you've got, engined by General Motors, it's a Corvette 327, 300 horse with a Muncie M21 close ratio 4-speed.
So it's a little bit of everything.
It's a little bit of everything, and the best of both worlds, because you've got phenomenal handling, great top speed, great power, and yet sumptuous leather interior and power windows and air conditioning and the best of everything.
And it's just drop dead gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
So how long have you had it?
Not too long, just about 35 years.
Oh, is that all? Yeah. Wow. How did you come by it? Where'd you find it?
Well, my dad bought one of these new in 1966. at the New York Auto Show, and I fell in love with it. And I told myself I'd have one by the time I turned 30. And I
Did you?
I did. Actually,
Wow.
I accomplished it. I'm 65 now, so I've had it for 35 years.
Man.
I found it through the Iso Club. It was in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I responded to an ad, called every day for 2 months. Turned out the guy was a teacher on sabbatical, and I didn't know. And finally, when I got him on the phone, I said, "Did I get the car?" He said, "You were my first call, you were my last call." And you called me
It's yours.
60 times. Just wire me the money and you can have the car.
So, how many were made?
Well, the official story is they're 412 because they're 412 serial numbers.
Yeah.
But truthfully, there's 400 of them were made because the Italians had a way of renumbering
Yes,
things.
they did,
and-
didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's more than I thought they made. And is it a steel body?
It's a handmade steel body. Every panel was beaten over a wooden buck, and the hood is aluminum. This car was not intended for series production. So unlike the Iso Revolta and the other models in the line, which had stamped steel, this was only intended as a halo car, so they never invested in the tooling. And so every single car is bespoke, handmade over a course of 10 years.
And one piece from another car will not.
They will not fit.
Will not fit.
All of the pieces on this car have a stamping number on them, kind of like so that you can put it back together if you need to.
Yeah.
You know you have the right part.
Well, and if Antonio didn't make it that day, it was
That's right.
Luciano.
Then you got a problem.
You got a problem.
Then you got a problem.
I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And
Well,
the
thank
interior,
you.
as you say, sumptuous leather. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
thank
I
you.
mean, it's so inviting.
Oh, I appreciate that. It's all leather, and it's got that beautiful aluminum and wood steering wheel with
Yes.
the wood dash and a full complement of Borletti gauges.
And the Griffin.
And the Griffin was the official symbol in the crest of the Revolta family.
Okay.
It's part eagle and part lion, so it's the power and the prestige of the brand.
It's just beautiful. And you've had it 35 years. You've driven this thing.
I've driven it somewhere between 30 and 40,000 miles.
Which is also absolutely unheard of.
It's insane. It's insane.
These are, this thing's got all sorts of amazing things about it. I mean,
Yes.
this isn't just decoration here either,
sir.
right?
No, this car, Giugiaro was a very big believer in form and function being integrated. So these actually vent the inboard mounted Girling disc brakes that are on the differential. This vents the interior. This lowers air pressure so that you don't get lift. That vents the engine compartment. Everything has a form and a function on this car.
So inboard brakes, they're actually they're not on the wheels,
No.
they're on the differential.
That-
eh?
when you look at the front brakes, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see the calipers.
There are
and
no
you see the
calipers
discs.
here.
There are no calipers. Where are the brakes? they're mounted on the differential, and then, if I might, this is so cool. There are ducts underneath, and not ducks that quack, ducts underneath the chassis, platform chassis, that vent air across the brakes, and then there are on each side tubes that vent the air. So if you go for a spirited ride and
You start getting smoke coming out of those?
you put your hand here, you'll actually feel the heat rising off the brakes. And that's so that you don't get brake fade.
Now, were these taillights, for instance, from something else?
Yes.
Yeah, what are they from?
You're absolutely right, Dennis. Those are from an Alpha.
I
And
kind of thought they might be.
they're Alpha units, and they're as rare as hen's teeth.
I believe it.
These are not chrome. They're stainless steel.
You're kidding.
And they're polished. And I like to tell people that this car needs me as much as I need it, because it would tarnish if I
crazy.
didn't polish it.
Oh, my goodness.
And the Barani wire wheels are aluminum and steel, and so to get those aluminum rims to sparkle, I have to literally destroy my hands in between the spokes. So
Well, it amazes me actually that this had I'm assuming that's a rear window defroster. Is that
yes,
right?
very, very astute observation. This was a very rare thing to find on a car when this car started production in 1965, to have a rear window
Yeah.
defroster. Very rare.
Because these things are, just in general, a performance car like
Right.
this, kind of raw. You don't have some of the, the creature comforts and stuff like
Exactly.
that. This has everything you could ever want.
Everything. And this piece of glass, when this was manufactured, was the largest single compound curved piece of glass ever installed on an automobile since the dawn of the automobile.
You probably don't want to break that.
I was terrified when we restored the car. They said, okay, I took most of the car apart myself. When it came to the back window, I said, listen, if we break this, I don't have a car anymore, so I'm gonna let you do it.
Yeah, so, and don't break it.
And don't break it, don't drop it.
So you said we have a Chevy 327 in there.
Yeah, would you like to see it?
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. All right, so Dennis, you asked about the engine. This is our Corvette 327 300 horsepower engine that's mated to a Muncie M21 close ratio transmission.
And the 327 is probably my favorite engine.
Oh,
I just love it. A lot of power and in a small package.
Exactly.
You know? And it fits so nicely in here. You know, sometimes like Bizzarinis and stuff, they'll be tucked so far back in there that you've got to set the points through a thing on the dash.
Exactly.
This you can actually, the only thing I ding these engines for is that it's usually kind of hard to get to the distributor. Not in this car. It's just perfect.
And the air conditioning compressor, which came with this car, that's the original air conditioning that was optioned for the car. Very accessible. It's so reliable. It never overheats. It never runs hot. It's smooth. These heat shields to keep you from burning your hands on the exhaust headers are bespoke Iso items. You'll notice there's none of that Corvette trim around the distributor, but there's no problem with radio reception because it's not a fiberglass car, so it's grounded.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
So.
And it must be just an absolute joy to drive.
I love it, Dennis.
Oh my goodness.
Dennis, it's my happy place.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Darren, close it back up if you would, because
sure.
it just looks so fantastic.
Listen to the sound.
Click.
Click.
No,
exactly.
bong.
No, that's a click.
It's click.
It's a click.
Oh, geez, I just love this, and you've been coming for years. I love this show. You must too.
I do love this show. It's a phenomenal show. It's one I can drive to without having to drive 1,000 miles in a weekend, which I've done. So this is an accessible show, but it's really a top class show. They do a phenomenal job here.
You know, if you had to drive 1,000 miles, though, this would be the car to do it. Absolutely.
I got a passenger seat. You want to go for a ride sometime?
Do I? So 69 Iso Grifo. Darren, this is fabulous. Thanks so much.
Dennis, I can't tell you how pleased I am. Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, why don't you start?
Oh no, I seriously.
Yeah.
The watch that goes with it. Oh my God. Well, Brian, this is a beautiful car. It's a 1953 Mercedes 300S Cabriolet, right?
300S Cabriolet.
It's beautiful. It's a very special car, but it's special for a lot of reasons.
It is.
This is a McPherson College car, right?
Yeah, that's true. This was a car that was completely restored by students at McPherson College as part of the automotive restoration program.
And that program is very special and very unique because it's really the only one where you can get a 4-year degree in automotive restoration and authentication,
That's
right?
correct. We are the only program currently that offers a 4-year bachelor's degree in automotive restoration. And so we focus on vehicles from the late 1800s up to about 1970 at this point.
And you guys took this baby on as a project, and it was pretty rough, yes, no?
It was a running driving car, but it had received 1 or 2 previous restorations. And we'll say that after we got the paint stripped off, we had a lot more learning opportunity than we had planned on, especially in the sheet metal lab, but we were able to stick to that 2023 goal.
Well, you know, I've been associated with the college since around 2000 or so, and I've watched the program grow. It really is amazing. You guys also put on a heck of a car show.
We put on a great car show. The students, and that's again another student-driven project. So that whole car show is done completely by students.
Yeah, I love it. I shot it a few years ago. I want to come back and do it again. But enough about that. Let's talk about this beautiful car. Well, first off, where'd you get it? Was it donated to the college?
So, I mean, when we decided we wanted to compete at Pebble Beach, you have to have a really special car, right? And so went looking. This car was not a donation, but we had some donors that believed in the idea, and they stepped up to help us purchase the car from an owner that also believed in the idea, but...
was it in Kansas?
It was actually in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, like most car stories, we went looking for one for about 3 years, and then we got a phone call right out of the blue.
And one found you.
Yes, absolutely.
So has it all been re-chromed and everything?
Yeah, everything's been redone. All of the bright work. That was one of the few things that we actually sent out. We did all the prep work.
Because I didn't think you guys
No, we do plating in-house, copper and nickel.
Okay.
Some silver plating for mirrors and stuff like that. But the chrome, with students, we don't do that. But they did all the prep work on that, and then we send it out.
Well, and the prep work involved is incredible. You don't put chrome down until everything is absolutely perfect.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like on a microscopic level. Perfect. You took it all apart?
We did every nut and bolt, and again, unfortunately with that previous restoration, a lot of hardware was replaced by commercial hardware store bolts, and so when we say a nut and bolt,
Depot, huh?
when we say a nut and bolt restoration, we took some other donor cars apart to get correct,
to get the right bolts,
the
right nuts.
And then we had to manufacture a lot and then replate those in the correct black oxide, because this car was built before the nickel plating and all on the bolts, that silver color that we're used to. These were all black oxided.
That's interesting.
So we'd had to do that in-house as well.
So how long?
And so 7-year restoration.
And it did go to Pebble.
It did go to Pebble and showed very well.
Magnificent.
Yeah, we actually got a second in class.
Oh, that is impressive. So you painted in-house, of course.
We did paint it in-house.
And as you know, this is absolutely the most unforgiving color you can put on a car, because it shows every flaw, and I don't see any flaws.
No, that's something we're really proud of, is the quality and the attention to detail on everything. But you know, the paint is a stunner for this car. And this being a hand-built car, every panel was a little bit different. So getting things like the doors and the fenders, they actually fold into each other. And so to get all that to work.
Well, it's very complicated. That door is part of the fender.
Correct.
That had to be tough.
That was one of the toughest on the body working sides, getting all that to blend together and work.
Is this basically a Landau bar?
So this is a Landau bar, and unlike the ones in the 70s, this is actually a functional.
It actually does something.
It has a functional part of the car. It locks the top in place, and so this was what was the Cabriolet. They did make a hard top and a roadster version. So this was the formal, most expensive one that they made. The top's actually about 6 different layers, insulated.
So it's got a headliner in a Cabriolet top.
Correct, and so it's a wool headliner, and then there's a muslin envelope basically full of curled horsehair. So we still maintained all the original materials and process.
The wood trim around the back window.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's all.
Now, is that wood or is that wood grained metal?
No, that piece is pretty amazing in that it's a single solid piece.
Oh my goodness.
Of wood, of mahogany. And that's another thing we were really proud of, is since this was a hand-built car and everything was labeled, hand labeled or carved into the piece, the chrome, the leather, this retained all the original woodwork, and we taught ourselves how to restore this mahogany veneer so we could save the original woodwork instead of just re-veneering it.
So all the gauging is original to this car?
Correct, yeah.
Now, did you have to restore the faces and stuff?
On this car, we just cleaned the faces.
Oh, you're kidding? You got away with that?
We were able to get away with that. We decided, there were just a hint of yellow, but keeping that original instead of refacing it, it brought more authenticity to the car itself.
The mahogany is stunning, and I love how crisp the edge is on the top of the dash. My goodness, and the leather work. You guys have quite a leather shop there.
We do.
I'm always impressed with the interiors that come out of your student cars.
Yeah, we have an entire upholstery shop. That's often people are really surprised that we have a upholstery shop in-house. We say we don't bend glass and we don't make tires, but
that's about it, right?
That's about it. We want the students to understand the entire process. So not that they're going to specialize in everything, but we want them to understand.
Have an appreciation for all of it.
Yeah, and even if you never want to paint another car again, if you're going to build engines, you still need valve covers and oil pans and the block itself painted, and you have to be able to talk to that painter. And the body man, you have to speak a common language. And
are these extra brake lights? Are they turn signals?
They're turn signals, so very early turn signal.
So there's no turn signal down here, this is it up here?
That's it, and then in the front fender up front.
Fender lights?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
And then kind of interesting, you have the red brake light, reverse light, and then in there amber brakes. So a little bit different than what people are used to today. Yeah.
Oh, really? Huh. Yeah, that could fool some people.
Fool some people, yeah.
So let's go see what powers this baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you have to do that carefully.
Yeah.
Ooh, holy mackerel, that's beautiful. Three carbs?
Triple carb, that was part of the S package, was you got a different...
What are they?
They're Solex.
Are they Solex?
Solex
Okay.
downdrafts, yeah, 2-barrel. Year before they came out with the S, you know, this was Mercedes-Benz's kind of reintroduction into the luxury car market, you know, after World War II. This was their, we are back as a brand. And so they pulled out all the stops with these 150 horsepower overhead cam, 3-liter 6. But to put in perspective, you know, in 1953, a Ford V8, flathead V8, was making 85 horsepower, and a Chevrolet was still a 6-cylinder with Babbitt bearings, making about 65 horsepower.
This is a bit ahead of its time.
A little bit ahead of its time.
And is that a cast aluminum?
All cast aluminum, correct.
Which, you know, which always to me looked a little clunky, but it speaks to you.
Yes, yeah, right?
It is fantastic.
And we really wanted to make sure we didn't just have that uniblack.
Yes.
So really...
You have all the different blacks.
All the different blacks, you know, the
In
different
all the right
manufacturers.
places.
Yeah, luckily, you know, this car kind of used some of the technology to go into the 300 SL gull wings, which then are obviously very well documented, and used a lot of the same components and manufacturers, so we were able to draw information from that.
I see. Yeah.
And kind of reverse engineer that.
Yeah, a lot of people think black is black, like Mick Jagger said, but it's really not. There's so many different blacks.
Correct, yeah.
This is it's a wonderful car, wonderful restoration, and a wonderful story.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great car, great program.
Thank you.
53 Mercedes 300S Cabriolet.
Fantastic,
Brian,
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is she beautiful or what? She is beautiful. Thank you. With a very beautiful car. Well, Bruce, I love this car, partially because it's green, and I'm a sucker for green cars. Yeah. But this is a '64 Chrysler 300.
It
right?
is, correct.
But it's not a letter car.
It isn't. But the interesting thing was the original owner actually got the power pack like it was going to be a letter car, but it's not a letter car.
Just left the letter off.
Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah. And they fully optioned the car too, and you'll see that, you know, there's power brakes, power windows, AC.
Everything that a letter car would have, except for the letter.
So, you know, it's kind of interesting they did that, you know. So,
you know, these are such strange cars that, you know, from 62 through 485, Exeter was doing some very strange things.
And yeah, it's got definitely have that unique shape to it.
It does, but it has always caught my eye, and I think these are just really great looking cars. And the more time passes, the more I like them. I find that I see more in them every year. Yeah. It's like, oh, look at that! I forgot. I never noticed that. But this is part of the collection at the Savoy.
It is.
Museum,
Yeah. So
right?
yeah. So we have about 130 cars in our collection
down in Georgia.
Down in Georgia. So Cartersville, Georgia. You know, we're just an hour north of Atlanta, halfway between Atlanta and Chattanooga, and you know, we're a little different in some other car museums in that we do rotating themed exhibits.
Yeah, it's always nice. Yeah. So do you guys always come to the Hilton Head Island Concours?
You know, we've been here 3 or 4 years, but this is kind of the first real time that we're showing a car.
Oh, so
here.
the first time you brought a car. Oh, you brought a good one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, it was interesting because, you know, we knew some of the people here at Hilton Head, and they said, do you happen to have a 64 car? Because we're going to do a 64 class. I'm like, yeah, I got
just
one.
happen to have one.
Yeah. So
that's perfect. It looks like it's been repainted once, at least.
Yeah, so this was actually restored. It was originally out of Orlando, and it was restored in around 2010, 2011. And it actually took second place in 2011 at the Chrysler Nationals.
Wow, yeah, I mean, and if it was restored that long ago, it's holding up beautifully.
Yeah, not too bad.
It really is. Yeah. But I you know, it's so square in front, kind of, and you even see some of the, you know, that 62 Dart look in the front, you know, with these kind of eyebrows over the headlights. By stretching this out, those lines get better, I think.
Exactly.
And I totally dig the interior on this.
Oh yeah, you like this like white.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, this is really cool, isn't it?
It's almost opalescent too. It kind of, it gleams. Then there's this kind of these skins on the door panels.
The silver skin here, you know, and then, you know, also the roof line too is nice with the chrome extra
Absolutely.
trim that
The
it has
headliner's
in
great.
there.
And that's attacking the
and that was working as I was driving it in today, so it was looking good. So I was excited that
you know, the
working.
gauging looks, I mean, it's very sporty. It looks, you know, I mean, this thing looks like a muscle car, but yet it's a 300, you know, luxury car. But you got your bucket seats, you got your console. It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and this thing came fully loaded too, you know, so you got power windows, power brakes, it's an actually AC car.
AC car, see that? And it's got the very cool squashed, that kind of square steering wheel that they had. I think the thing I like most about this roof is the way the sail panel comes and blends and kind of smoothly blends into the rear quarter. It's not like a separate thing. It's this one flow.
Exactly.
That I just love. And the side trim too, which is pretty delicate and amazingly straight.
Yeah.
Because that usually gets the heck beat out of it.
Oh yeah, it gets dinged real easily.
Is this chrome or is this stainless? Actually, it looks like chrome.
Oh, that is chrome. You can see a little bit of the pitting in here. Same again, since it's a 2010, you got a little bit here in the bumper too. So,
but it's still just, and boy, you don't see these.
Yeah,
I mean, they're pretty rare, and the body's so weird. I love the back window. That's
it gives you lots of glass.
Yeah,
lots
it really
of
does.
You can really see out the back.
That thing is huge.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go up and see what moves us down the road. Well, that is a big flat hood.
Yeah.
So 413?
413, you're correct. Yeah, and you see factory air on this car. Yep.
It really was loaded.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So do you know if that's been rebuilt or is that the original engine?
When they restored it, they rebuilt the internals.
So they've really done everything.
Yeah.
And does it run pretty good?
It runs well. Yeah, you should hear it when it fires up. It sounds like a boat. You know, it's like. Blah, 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 blah.
It's got a dual master cylinder, which is always good to see. But in '64, did all cars, were they mandated by then? I don't know. But I always like seeing a dual master cylinder.
Yeah, I know that the power brakes were an option, but then I don't know if that was part of that option package or not.
Having popped the brake line in a single master cylinder car, it's exciting. Actually, it's terrifying. Boom, yeah. So what do you think of your experience here at Hilton Head?
Oh, this is wonderful.
Great.
I think this is like one of those relaxed kind of concourse you can come to, and you see the same people over again, which is so nice. But there's always different cars every time.
And I love the fact that it's a 2-day. You have the car club showcase on Saturday, and of course the Concours today. And so it's really 2 shows in one. And I love it.
Oh,
and I love your car.
Oh, well, thanks so much. Really appreciate
the 64 Chrysler 300, not letter, from the Savoy Museum.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks
Dennis.
a lot.
Really appreciate it.
Killer. Well, Randy, I met you a couple years ago. You and your boat. You were here. I mean, I know this is a car show. And there's a lot of cars here, but this boat.
It looks a little bit like a car.
It kind of, George Jetson should own this boat. This thing is so space aged, it just cracks me up.
It's a 1980 Glastron Carlson.
Glastron
It's the
Carlson.
two companies. Glastron got together with Carlson. Carlson is a go-fast guy.
Right.
Glastron built family boats.
Right.
And this is kind of a combination of the two.
How many, because I've never seen one of these, and it's just so crazy. It's so over the top. How many did they make?
They built 500 of them.
Really?
300 of them went overseas.
Okay.
Only 200 of them were in the United States. They made them in 80, 81, 82.
It's just insane. Were they all this color?
No, cement green was only 1 year, the first year.
Oh.
Very, very few of the cement green. They made like 3 other colors, an orange, a brown, a blue.
I don't think it
and
even
a red.
matters, because this is the color.
But it is absolutely sparkly.
It is absolute, because that's real metal flake. That's
That
real
is
chunks
real
of metal.
flake, yes.
Holy cow.
And of course the T-tops were kind of the featured thing in these, because in the 80s that was the rage.
That was a thing,
Yeah, so it has these T-tops in it, and the front windshield is out of a Cadillac.
I'm looking at it, that's
the
definitely.
driver's seat actually is, mine doesn't do it anymore, but it actually is an electric seat, goes back and forth. The other one swivels. It's pretty cool.
No, it's very cool. So how long have you had it?
I bought it in 2020, right in the middle of COVID.
Oh my goodness, wow.
But yeah,
Wow. Well, and I mean, it's fabulous. It looks brand new, but I don't think it's been restored, because how do you restore something like this?
It is not restored. This is all original. There's a couple of things in the interior that have a couple of pieces that have been reupholstered, but other than that, the boat, and this is the original Carlson trailer, which is pretty unique thing. But no, the boat's all original. The gel coat's original, which is like incredible, because most of this doesn't last like that. But no, it's all original.
I don't know how you could possibly even restore this. I mean, you'd never get it back.
My body shop guy told me that you better hope you don't ever have to have me paint anything, because I can't match this.
I can't do it, right?
And it's a Merc Cruiser 260 horsepower 350 Chevrolet GM motor.
Wow. I mean, those almost look like the old Chrysler swivel seats.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has a real automotive dash, too,
It
doesn't
does.
it? I mean,
It does, and even up here, you know, see, it's got the little gauges and stuff up top, and it's got a radio with the speakers in it and all that, and all the gauges. Yeah.
It's just
Interior lights. All the wood you see is teak.
Yeah.
All the little teak accents. Yeah.
It's just incredible. Now, you know, there's really quite a gathering of boats here at the Hilton Head Concours d'Elegance
Yeah,
Motoring Festival. It has a motor, I guess.
Well, you can't look at cars all day long.
No.
You can't, so they introduced the boats and the airplanes to kind of throw a little bit of extra into this. We've been coming for years.
It's one of the things I like about this show is the diversity. I love the
me
fact
too.
that it's 2
Me-
days, you know, so this is the car club showcase and all sorts of stuff here, and then the Concours tomorrow.
Exactly, and I love cars, and I love boats. And somebody said, well, is that your favorite show? And I said, yeah. And they said, why? And I said, the boat doesn't have to run or float.
No, it just sits
It
there
just sits
and
on the
sparkles.
trailer. I said, you really ought to clean it up and make it, but other than that, no, it's fun. It's a fun show, well-run show, beautiful weather.
Yeah, beautiful venue.
Beautiful venue.
And there's a lot of significant boats here, too. I mean, like some really...
There are some boats here in this group that are very significant, absolutely.
But none as sparkly as this.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's we're in the Antique and Classic Boat Society. We're the Blue Ridge chapter, which is North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. They have now introduced, because it's mostly wood boats to start with, they've introduced the fiberglass boats, and it's making great, because, you know, the wood boats get more and more and more expensive. Yeah, and there's so many fabulous fiberglass boats
Yeah,
out there.
absolutely.
There's several of them here.
And period pieces, because this is a period piece for sure.
And it's one of those things I told somebody when they get a fiberglass boat and they've been out of a wood boat, I said, what's cool is you put it in the water and you don't worry about, is water coming in here?
No, it's not.
Is the bilge pump working? I mean, you don't worry about
And in
it.
fact, if water is coming in, then you should worry.
Yeah,
Is there
then that's a problem.
Then that's a problem.
If the bilge pump's working faster and it's coming, going out quicker than it's coming in, it's not. That's
not a good thing.
Yeah.
So all the way to the back, you've got the fins here. Is this just decorative, or is this?
Those are just vents. The vent there. The motor's under here.
But you can hang out up here if you want.
You can. Yeah, it's got these steps where you can step up. If it's in the water, you know, somebody skiing or something can get up on this.
007, because it's a Bond boat.
Yeah, it was. Originally, this was the boat that was in the movie, not this particular boat, but Live and Let Die. But it wasn't actually this model that was supposed to be, and the model wasn't ready yet. So they did the one right before it. It's what's in the movie. But it's very similar with the top and all that if you look at Live and Let Die. But Bond, these Glastron Carlsons were in several of the Bond movies.
Well, it's
different series.
It is an absolute magnificent boat. I love
thank
it. Randy, I'm so glad you brought it back
too.
this year.
Yeah, I'm so glad to see you again.
Sparkle on.
Maybe we'll see each other next time.
Maybe so.
I may have something totally
You may.
different.
1980 Glastron Carlson
Scimitar.
And I understand you should never underestimate an old man with a Glastron Carlson.
And I will tell you real quick too, I'm a car guy also. And one of my favorite cars is the Avanti.
Me too.
Studebaker, and it was designed by Raymond Loewy. Well, the little red boat over there, that's a Dorset.
Yes.
Raymond Loewy actually designed Dorsets. I found the most famous, it's called the Dorset Seahawk, and they were designing it at the same time they were doing the Avanti in the Raymond Loewy studio. Yeah, and that's the one I'm working on right now. We'll see if I live long enough to finish it. Maybe you'll see it.
I'm rooting for you. Thanks again, man.
Thank you. Appreciate
so
it.
much fun.
And keep them growing. I look at every one of them over and over. We need new ones.
Well, Tom, this is a pretty impressive grouping.
It kind of is.
It kind of is. It kind of catches your attention, doesn't it? Well, you're with BMW North America.
Correct.
And these are all BMW North America cars, is that
Yes,
right?
that's right. Yes.
So when they're not here at the Hilton Head Concours, where do they live?
They move around. They do various shows a year. We run some of the cars on track as well. So yeah, this is a full running V12 LMR from 1999.
Really? Wow.
Huge V12 in the back, 6-liter V12, about 650 horsepower.
What does it weigh? I mean, it probably weighs...
And it's about 2,200 pounds
So
fully
with-
loaded. Yeah.
With how many horsepower?
650.
That's impressive.
Yeah, yeah. The best sounding V12 you can imagine, and an extremely successful car.
This raced in 99?
99 and 2000,
In 2000.
2 years, yeah. It was the first car to win Sebring and Le Mans on the same year.
Wow.
In 1999. So this is the Sebring winner. This particular car, the sister car, won Le Mans a few months later. There's also a BMW art car as a V12 LMR.
Oh, wow.
And in total, there were 5 made. Bill Oberlin had a backflip at Road Atlanta at the end of the 2020 season, and that was the end of one
That
car.
left a mark, right?
Yeah, it left the mark. He landed right side up. He was fine. It was all good. But we've kept this in the collection ever since. It was a factory race car, so we won't sell it ever.
And you have incredibly smooth. I mean, it must
Very
have a
smooth,
really
yes.
low drag coefficient.
Very low, and it was dominant in speed, and it was incredibly reliable. So
Really? Well, it's a BMW.
It never DNF'd, and it was almost always on the podium. It was a really spectacular car. The drivers who got a chance to drive this loved it. If you're one of the kids that does PlayStation and Forza Motorsport and stuff, this is the car to have. Yeah. It takes a while to get enough points to buy it, but this is the one to have. This is the one to have. Yeah, it's a fantastic car.
So 99.
Yep.
But you came with,
We brought
a
2
whole bunch
others.
of lists.
Back in time a little bit.
Going back in time, I love that.
1986. This is a IMSA GTP car. The chassis is a March. The engine in it is a 2-liter, 4-cylinder turbocharged
Dual
engine.
overhead cam.
Dual overhead cam. BMW won the Formula One World Championship in 1983
Okay.
with a 4-cylinder turbo. In the F1 cars, in qualifying trim, it could do about 1,200 horsepower for a lap, right? And that was during the time that they did qualifying engines. This one is essentially the same engine, except it's increased in displacement to 2 liters. Still big turbo. A little bit of turbo lag, but
I was wondering about that,
750 horsepower roughly.
And again, probably about the same weight, or even maybe a little less.
It's I think the min weight at the time was about 2,000 pounds or so. So yeah, it was a quick car.
Love the suspension. I mean,
Exactly.
There's a lot going on.
There's
there.
a lot going on. This was state of the art at the time for sure.
So is this an alternator sitting here?
Yes.
What a weird place for an alternator.
It's run off one of the output shafts from the transmission there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is totally crazy. And then-
Actually, that's fairly normal on race cars. That's on the rear axle.
no kidding. I did not know that.
And that's one reason why you have to keep race cars moving in order to generate electricity, because
it's being generated by the wheel itself.
By the wheel, yeah.
I didn't.
or some take off the transmission in the back.
Man, oh man, oh man.
But have a look in the cockpit there. It was, this was a David Hobbs car back in the day, and he said this thing was really, really fast.
Boy, and it wraps right around.
Yeah.
It's all, everything you want's right there.
Right there, yeah. Yeah, and very old school. The only thing in there is a tack in the middle. The LMR has a
Who needs a
digital
speedometer?
display. Well, it has a digital display. It'll tell you various things.
Because it can.
Because it can. This just tells you,
what you need
there's
to
the red
know.
line. Don't go past the red line.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an important part.
Exactly.
So a mere 2-liter.
Yep. 750 horsepower.
750 horsepower.
Yep.
That is just
Yeah.
amazing.
And it was built as an endurance racer, so it could do 4,000 or 5,000 miles on that tune without blowing up.
Man.
Presumably.
And
because they did blow up.
So they say. And also fairly competitive?
It had a lot of teething problems. It ran one season, 1986. It won the
at the race at the Watkins Glen in the summer of
I love that track.
'86. Yeah. With the junior drivers, actually. So Michael Andretti and Jones were the two drivers. They put it on P1 and podium, and at the end of the season, the cars were retired, and that was it. We went to sports car racing afterwards. Yeah.
That's not all bad either.
Not so bad,
So
no.
another step back in time?
Yeah, let's go back, way back.
Way back. So where,
this is,
where are we now?
This is 1981.
Oh, you know what I dig is the grill.
There's a little story that goes with that grill.
That's
So
so
not the
awesome.
original grill for the car.
Okay.
So what happened is early on, the car came into the pits and the nicely fared in BMW kidney grill was gone. So the motorsport manager at the time went, we can't drive the car around with nothing there. So he went out to his wife's 320, pulled the grill off
Well, it's
it,
wired on.
and they wired it on. And it's been like that ever since. So, and then the other part of the story was a fan found the original one. It was gone for 30 years, and then eventually it showed up and it was donated back. So we have the actual grill, but we have to keep this.
You gotta do that.
Exactly.
So this is this actually is relatively similar to the '86.
Similar, yes.
A little bit.
So both chassis were built by March.
Okay.
And this is the very first prototype GTP car that March built. And they did a number for some that were General Motors powered. Brian Redmond raced in these things. This one was powered by an inline six that was from the M1. So a 3.5 liter inline six of 480 horsepower. But it wasn't competitive enough against the GM products. So it was re-engineered to use the 2-liter 4-cylinder from
And
an
evolved
earlier
into-
version of that.
I see.
The car's been restored as a static because it's really quite an unsafe car, I think.
The most safest when it's sitting
It's
like
safest
this,
sitting
right?
here. It's a fabulous piece of history, and because we don't run it, we can keep the original seat, the original seat belts, and all that, and make it really a time capsule of 1981.
Well, and it's still an incredibly sexy car.
It really is.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
It generated massive downforce, and it was really quick. Bobby Rahal drove this at Sebring and said he could blow by the 962s no problem. So we only ran it in the short races that year. In the long races, we ran a normal Group 5 M1. It never got fully developed, but it is the very first chassis and
Well, it's just
kind of a cool piece.
Well, all three. I mean, it's just it's wonderful. And you guys, BMW North America, is a pretty routine presence here at Hilton Head.
We have, yes, but it's close to our plant, right? So
Well,
we have a
that's true.
plant in
Yeah,
South
yeah, that's
Carolina,
true.
so we always try to support this concours.
And it's a wonderful event.
And it's a wonderful event, exactly. So we had to be here. We were asked to bring the prototypes for this class, and I think we're a big part of the class, it seems.
I would say
But,
you're about
you know,
60% of it.
It's wonderful to bring these cars out because most people haven't seen these.
Well, I hadn't, and certainly not in one place.
Right.
It's just fantastic. 81, 86, 99.
Exactly.
Yowza.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
You're very welcome.
Well, it's another Hilton Head Island Concours d'Elegance and Motoring Festival in the record books. And if I haven't said it already, and I think I have, I really love this show. It's definitely one for your bucket list. Check it out.